So welcome to Leicester Fan TV. My name's Phil. If you're watching this live, we've got the next 30 minutes, me and you talking about whatever it is you want to talk about that it's anything to do with Leicester City. Do you want to talk about yesterday's performance against Chelsea or not? A lot of people will want to talk about it. You maybe don't want to. Where do you want to go to? We've missed out on one cup final in the FA Cup. We have got 9 cup finals left to go, and every single one of those games has to be treated now like it is a cup final. I want your views, your comments. We can talk about Chelsea, we can talk about the good bits, we can talk about the bad bits, and we can look forward to the next 9 cup finals, which start a week on Friday away at Bristol City. Get your views and get your comments in. Make sure you like and share this and follow us at Leicester Fan TV. We need your views and your comments for the next 30 minutes. Come on, let's go!
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content, like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live. Thanks to our sponsors, Evrods, Follow Blinds, Pocker Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hologram, Take Me, Nubian Co, and the Fox's Arms and Rainbows. We are live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What do you want to talk about? It doesn't matter what I want to talk about. This is the Fan Zone show. This is what you want to talk about. As we say, follow us at Leicester Fan TV on all socials. We get your views in. We get your comments in. Matty, I'm well. How are you? What did you think to yesterday's result? Let us know what you thought. Richie, good evening. Thanks for your comments as ever. Says, gutted that City lost to Chelsea yesterday in the FA Cup. We will win the next games in a row and get promotion. Richie, I hope you're right, because I'll tell you what, I'm starting to panic big style and I need some reassurance, please. Nick says, good evening. Thought we did okay yesterday. To be fair, the red card killed the game. It did kill the game. We can talk about that. Reedy's going to come on in a minute. The red card definitely changed the game. But I've got to be fair, Nick, them missing a penalty in the first half also changed the game. So it swings both ways. Ian says, good evening. Good evening, Ian. What do you reckon to yesterday's game? Do you want to talk about that or the 9 cup finals coming up? Ted says, not just the players, we need to get the King Power rocking it again. I agree, Tez. It's got to start. And a week on Friday, it's away at Bristol City. Boy, oh boy, do we need that. Because in case you didn't hear, we're not top anymore. I know it's on goal difference or goals scored, is it? And it's also Leeds have played 1 game more. But there we are. 17 points clear of Leeds we were on January the 1st. 2024, Leicester City were 17 points clear of Leeds, and we're now behind them. What do you want to talk about that? I actually looked at a league table, a form league table yesterday. There's some funny old websites out there. So I put in, where do we stand in the league from games from January the 1st? We were about 12th. Leeds are top, we're 12th. Since Christmas, we've been mid-table type of team. Andy says Chelsea showed just how slow Vestergaard is, and Daka was poor again. Andy, I've got to be fair. I think it does show Vestergaard isn't Premier League quality. I've been saying all along. He's a nice guy, plays well, but his pace is just not there. Going to get ripped to shreds by those sorts of attackers. We've said it. Raheem Sterling was our man of the match. Proud of the lads yesterday. Keep the faith. I'm sure, yeah. The lads they dug deep. It was nice to see. It was a slightly different type of Leicester. There was a bit more grit about it, I thought, yesterday. Nick says, let's face it, yesterday, Sterling was our best player for most of the game. Boohoo Records says, why are we playing and why did we give Chowdhury an extension? Open players to get counter and he passes 5-yard pass always. Again, Reedy's going to come on in a minute. I don't think Chowdhury had the best game ever yesterday. We rewatched some of the goals. I'm not sure where he was trying to be playing, but if it was right back, honestly, I'm not sure you can do that. Matty says it was a free hit. The next game is a 6-pointer. Upside down season yet again. Great season. Bad finish in there. If you're on the Facebook group, says all for a bit of banter, but booing Ben Chilwell every time he warmed up was a bit childish. I don't know. That's football, isn't it? As long as there's nothing too offensive said or sung, just a bit of banter. Terry says the international break couldn't have come at a better time. I hear what you're saying, Terry, but it would have been nicer to have a little break and us still be top. I was watching that Leeds game just thinking, if they're going to win, just make it 1-0 because we were still top when they were 1-0 in there. Dave says we now need to win the last 9 games. It could happen, Dave. It could happen. We've got a lot to go through. Sean says we need to steel our nerves and push on and play with belief like we did 2 months ago. I'd take you back slightly to December and November. I think since January the 1st, if you look at those stats, it isn't good and it needs to change now. If we carry on playing the way we played since January the 1st, we won't finish in the top 2. It is as simple as that. But if we play like you take the whole season on average, we'll do it. But form, I mean, what do they say? Form is temporary, class is permanent, but it's got to get back to it. Andreas says, why are people negative all the time? Andreas, I like to feel I personally am positive, but I'm also a realist. And I am looking at the form since January, which I'm not looking at it over 5. I mean, the last form over the last 5 games is woeful in the league. Since January the 1st, it's just mid-table. I think we finished 12th. Go and check it out. That's where we go. Andy says about yesterday's game, Mavididi didn't track back for their first goal. He scored a cracker though, didn't he, Andy? That was a great goal Mavididi scored. I think yesterday was just a free hit. I totally want this. I'm almost, in a weird way, is anybody else watching this and thinks, actually, I know it's easier to say after the game because we'd have all enjoyed a semi-final and maybe a final. But the reality is we can just, the biggest picture, and I said it last week in Monday's show, we've got to focus on the 9 cup games we've got left, not one in a semi-final. We've got to go. David says here 9 cup finals to go. Hopefully we settle and bring a game to them in there. Lee says Leeds and Leicester push Chelsea all the way, which shows both clubs will cut it this time round when we both got. I think so, Lee. I hear what you're saying. But Chelsea were a mess. Absolute mess. I think they had 25 shots. And against 25 shots, we didn't have that many. I think they, on their day, they could have been 4 or 5 or 6 up at half time. Honestly, I kid you not. I'm going to get Reedy in now. Reedy was at the match yesterday. Let's get him into it. Good evening, Reedy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, Reedy, and we're going to get as many comments on while we're chatting as well. Joe says here, getting a bit nervous now. We might not make automatics. Terry says, the club needs to do more to get the atmosphere going at the King Power. It's a bit boring when the game isn't being played there. Reedy, we've got to talk about yesterday just briefly. I know you're at the game. Give me briefly some positives from yesterday.
I don't know what you kind of say to it. For me, we battled against them. We were 2-2 by 90th minute. Obviously, I know we lost 4-2 in the end, but that was mainly down to the red card. So for me, I thought I was quite proud of the boys to keep into the game as long as we could. And there was a few good performances there. Winks, Julius Viola, I thought did well. And then obviously, like you said, there's a few bad performances from likes of Vestergaard and Chowdhury. There was a few there that wasn't great, but it was a good test for us, and I wasn't disappointed. We did what we could, and we didn't get battered in a way. So
yeah, Sean says here, I can't think of anything worse than ending up in the playoffs. We'll come on to that. I would agree with you, Sean, totally in there. Dave Platt says we had 20 minutes after Chelsea gifted us the goal, but the rest of the time we were too slow defending. Bubba says, watching out in state, says we do have the talent, we have the experience, we have the motivation. Coming off a nice rest, we'll smash the run in. Richie says here, I'm not nervous, Leicester will do it. Matt says, this is about yesterday's game, we had 1 shot on target. I think we had a chat earlier, Reedy, in the office, and I said, I think you felt it was a much closer game than I felt it was, because I think we were lucky we weren't maybe 4 or 5 down at half time.
yeah, if I'm totally honest,
In reality,
the first 2 goals we conceded was sloppy goals. Obviously, the penalty was one where it could have been it 3, but the 2 goals were for me were defendable. Like I say, we watched it in the office. Chowdhury should have been watching his man when he was coming around the back post. That's defendable. And then the goal that Cole Palmer scored, again, you can't be letting Sterling get beaten. Can't be letting Sterling go running through on that goal. And then the pass across was again too easy. But second half, I thought we did well. Kept our own game. I thought we were, to be honest, a better side, but that was maybe down to the own goal. Gave us a bit of a momentum push, but again, for me it was close. And at 2-2, there was a lot of Leicester fans in that crowd actually thinking that we could do it, but again, the red card just killed it.
A couple of questions for you here. Dave says, does Reedy accept Vestergaard is too slow? Just watch the first goal. Dave, I also showed Reedy the goal where, well, it wasn't a goal, where Doyle's sending off was because Vestergaard, I don't know why, dived in like he did. I've shown it to you, Reedy, both incidents, because obviously Reedy was at the match. I'm being dead honest. Reedy was at the match, so you see the game one way. I was armchair fan yesterday for various reasons, and I watched it at home. And we weren't impressed by Vestergaard, but I think when I've shown it you today, you can see why we felt he dived in and was too slow.
Yeah, I could tell why people think he's slow, and he is a slow player. But when I was at the match, people were blaming other players for mistakes we've done. Obviously, like you say, when Vestergaard got beaten in that first goal, he shouldn't have been keeping off him. He should have got into him. And then obviously the Doyle one, I thought it was FaZe's fault for giving the ball away. So obviously there was loads of errors that could happen, but ultimately that moment was down to Vestergaard because he didn't do the right thing. But I don't know. I think at the moment we've been quite poor at the back defensively. Like I say, FaZe had a bad game as well yesterday. So maybe it is time to switch around and put Cody in. I don't know, but
I'll tell you what I did find interesting, Reedy. How long have I been saying stick the big guy up front for the last 5 minutes? Enzo actually did it. We needed a goal. It didn't work. But at least when I saw Vestergaard running around up top,
he was up front. He was up front the rest of the game. Yeah.
But my question to everybody watching and to Reedy there is, if Enzo put Vestergaard up for the last 5 minutes yesterday because we needed a goal, why doesn't he employ the same tactic when we're losing against QPR or Borough?
I think it's the league compared to the cup. The cup doesn't matter if you do lose another goal or concede another goal. The league is completely different. You can't risk putting someone like that up, even if you are. If you 1-1, well then fair enough. But if you 1-0 down, I guess you'd rather try and get 1-1 with playing the way you are than going 2-0 down by putting a defender up front. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Moore says Jackson had Vestergaard on toast all day, Reedy, yesterday. I mean, they've got some real talent in there. Their third and fourth goals in particular were magnificent. So I don't know how much we want to dive into yesterday. Like you say, Reedy, there was good points. There was a few bad points. The biggest point for me was it did feel like the Leicester side had some grit about it and had some determination. And I think that is the spirit we need to take into the next 9 games, isn't it?
Yeah, I think obviously the first half wasn't the best performance, but with how we performed and how we fought for the game, if we played that and played that style and played that way, the rest of these games coming up, we should be cleaning these teams apart because they're nowhere near the level of Chelsea. We've shown that we could do it at Bournemouth with half a team, so if we could play how we have been doing, like yesterday or like at Bournemouth, then we should be wiping the floor with these teams. But that at the moment, that's not been happening. So yeah, hopefully it gives a bit of a push.
Richie says Leicester City were robbed yesterday. I personally, Richie's obviously entitled to his view. I don't think we were robbed. We were gifted a woeful penalty from Sterling. We were absolutely gifted the first goal for Leicester. I've not seen a stranger own goal since Frank Sinclair, which is before your time, Reedy. But what a strange own goal. And I think the red card was one incident, but I don't think we were. I think we gave a good battle. Reedy, there's 9 cup finals left to go. I think that's where, personally, Leicester Fan TV, we need to focus now. And we need to treat each one of those as if we were in the semi-final of all these games. A week on Friday is Bristol City away, Reedy. Just how big is that game now?
It's just as massive as every other game at the end of the season now. It's probably one of the harder ones. You've seen Bristol City competing and beating some teams at the moment. I think they beat Southampton, or they drew to Southampton. So the Bristol City at their place is going to be hard. It's going to be one of the hardest we've got in the last 9. But the main thing about it is after that one, we've got more home games than we have away. Because there's only 3 more away games after that, and there's 5 at home.
So the home games should be very, very important. Just so that people know, we play Bristol City away. Leeds are away to Watford. Ipswich are away too. I need to check. Ipswich are away at Blackburn Rovers. So all 3 of us have got away games there, Reedy. Let's get a few comments in before we come back to you. Wayne says Bristol's going to be a massive game. LCFC number 4 on YouTube says we can still win. I believe it. We just need to find back that momentum. Yeah, I agree. It has to start against Bristol. Linda says here, this is an interesting one. Says Chelsea's team yesterday cost 450 million compared to City's 86 million. Totally understand that. And that in footballing terms is why Chelsea should win. Note though, Linda, at 86 million, we'll play Bristol City a week on Friday, which I don't know how much it costs. But really, I would guess. Yeah, I would guess Bristol City. Matty James plays there. Andy King's still part of the side. These, don't get me wrong, they'll be spirited, Reedy. But just as Linda said there, at £86 million squad should absolutely beat Bristol City, shouldn't it?
Yeah, again, it's half a Premier League side already from last season. So, and on top of that, I will mention that Ricardo Pereira should be back. Vardy should be back. All these players have played in the Premier League. These should be wiping the floor with them. And I don't know what the stats are with Ricardo Pereira in the team and how many he's won, but I'm pretty sure majority of the games he's been involved in, we've won games. So hopefully that's a big pullback. And like you said, just the value alone is just ridiculous compared to some of these Championship teams. So
yeah, and somebody's just put Leicester obviously on that Friday kickoff at 12:30. For those of you who will be at the game, Reedy, you go to the away games. I'm an armchair fan for the away games. I tell you what, I'm going to snuggle down, watch Leicester. Then it's over to Ipswich at 5 o'clock on telly. Then it's Leeds at 8. It's all 3 games are live. Talk about Super Sunday. It's going to be, hopefully it's not going to be Friday, Reedy.
Yeah, it's going to be horrible. And it's like with the Plymouth game and the Millwall game, both 3 days from each other. So it's not going to be good.
It's going to be an interesting game. Boohoo Records saying, we seem to forget the Premier League players got relegated. We weren't good enough. Talk about it yesterday. Rob says Mabadidi has been playing poor in the last 5 or 6. Hopefully his goal will inspire him to better form. Nice profile picture there. God, that's back in. I used to stand right there. Pen 2, Reedy. Them were the days. That's when football was football. I just wish some of you youngers could have stood on the cop. But anyway, we'll get distracted. Thank you for that, Rob's profile picture. Ben says, why bring on 2 defenders and try to hang on Brenzo Gorigo? Ben's not an Enzo fan in there. Sean says, 4-4-2 for the run-in. It's tried and tested. Winning formation, Vardy and Cannon up front. We won't go 4-4-2 though, will we, Reedy?
No chance. No. It's never going to be like that the rest of the season. So
even I know that now. Come on, Sean. We know the formation is what it is. Kunal says if we lose on that Friday, we could go 3rd if Leeds and Ipswich win. That would be frightening, Reedy. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it?
Very frightening, yes.
To drop to 3rd. We've got Bristol City away. We're just going to quickly flick through some of these because, as you say, Norwich at home, Birmingham at home, Millwall away, always a nice trip. Plymouth away, long trip. West Brom home. Southampton home. Preston away. Blackburn home, Reedy. Just come on. I'm gonna ask Reedy and I'm gonna ask everybody else who's watching. Just quickly flick through these. And out of the 9 games left, how many do you honestly feel we win? So see if you agree with Reedy. Reedy, Bristol City away. Win, lose, draw.
Draw.
It's not good enough.
No, it's not. But
it's got to be a win.
It's got to be a win. I know that, but it's going to be a tough
It's
one.
like it has to be a win. We've got to, because if we draw, that just carries on mid-table form. Reedy, it's got to stop.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're asking me if you think I'm going to win. If I'm totally honest, I think we'll draw it. I just think it's going to be a tough game.
I don't want to hear you say that, really. I want you to say win, but you're fair enough, mate. Norwich, home.
Win. I think it's going to be an easier game, but again, it's still going to be hard. That's the problem now. We're looking
Norwich
at
are in
games.
better, yeah, everybody's in better
We're
form
looking
than
at
us, really.
we're looking at games and we're thinking they should be easy, but on the day,
Reedy's going away draw, Norwich, home win, Birmingham,
win.
gotta be.
Yeah.
Millwall.
Win. Again, they literally have the most basic championship team I've ever seen, so definitely a win.
Plymouth away.
Again,
That won't be easy.
Whittaker on form. He's scored one of the best goals this season, so yeah, draw.
Draw. Okay. Well, we've not lost yet in your predictions. West Brom at home. Sort of a local derby. We're sort of having that as a local derby.
We're lucky to win them on the away game,
You
so
were.
I'll say a win, but there could be every chance we lose that one.
If you want to get promoted, you just can't be, can you? Southampton at home. Southampton play Leeds, Ipswich, and Leicester.
Draw.
They will have a massive impact on the results. You remember last year, Brighton played Leicester, they beat us. Brighton played Everton, they lost at home 4-1, and you go, are they trying to stop us up? Southampton could have the same effect on teams, really.
Yeah, I think it'll be a draw though.
You think that'll be a draw? Preston away,
Has to be a win.
and then Blackburn at home. Where we're all at the King Power, absolutely clapping our pants on the last game of the season, watching the phones.
Southampton
trying to
and
work
Leeds
out.
are playing each other on that day as well. Go for a win. Again, that's me saying that we've won, not lost the game.
No, that's 9 in there, isn't it? Jason says Norwich are flying in there. David says don't think we'll lose any more games, but possibly draw against Saints and West Brom in there. Tommy says needs at least 18 points to guarantee promotion. I think we were trying to work out that we are pretty clear that we will make the playoffs. I've not quite done the maths on it, but I believe we are already guaranteed playoffs. I think we are because of teams playing other teams. Terry says Coventry will also have a massive impact. Well, we're not playing Coventry, and obviously I think are they playing Leeds and Ipswich? I assume in their run-ins.
Yeah.
Millwall don't sell out. Their crowd was poor on our last visit. Curtis says 2 draws, 7 wins, hopefully. It has to start against Bristol City, like we say. How big a part can all the fans play at the King Power Stadium?
Massive. Again, we know how bad the atmosphere's been at the KP recently, but we've got more home games and away games now, and we've got to use what we can and what we've got in the crowd to push the team on. We've done it many times away. We've obviously had a better record away because of had a little amount of fans and we're making more noise. But we've got to make the whole crowd go in the home grounds because that's all we've got. So
here's I agree with Reedy. And Leicester Fan TV has been around for years. We've done some fantastic things at the ground before, and we've always tried to encourage fans to make some noise and be part of it. I feel like now it is time for a rallying cry. The season, the greatest escape season, we did something called, it was like hashtag the spirit of Filbo. And what we were trying to do, it was interesting that Sean's profile picture earlier showed a picture of Filbert Street. We know that the King Power can be rocking on its day, Reedy. You've been there, we've all been there. And some of that is what you see on the pitch. Some of it's the drama of what's on the pitch. Some of it is the excitement of what is going on at the grounds and what we have to do. I'm wondering, and I'm asking everybody who's watching this, because there's a lot of people watching it live and a lot of people are watching it on playback. What can Leicester Fan TV do with the fans? What can we do? Suggestions, please, as to help encourage that atmosphere, the Richter scale atmosphere back when we play Norwich at home. That's the away fans. Obviously, it's away game. Create some noise, but Norwich what can Leicester Fan TV do for that Norwich game on the 1st of April? It's a 12:30 kickoff. I want to know what people who are watching this can do. Reedy, if you've got any suggestions, feel free to shout. But before you do, let's see if we've got any comments in here. Craig says, sing your hearts out for the lads. Yes, Craig, I think that's good. And I think people need to do it. Should they bring the clappers back and put them on every seat? A lot of people don't like the clappers. You know, I've always been an advocate of the clappers because people pick them up when they're sat in their seats and they make some noise. So that would be an instant one for me, is put a clapper in every person's chair, and every single person, whether you like or hate a clapper, pick it up and start clapping and start making some noise. I think that, to me, is a basic suggestion to the club, really, from me, is get the clappers back on the seats, even if it's for that one game. Print something on the clappers so that we all hold them up before the game. It's the same device. It's a clapper, it's a banner. Hold it up, and Union FS do a lovely job of doing tifos, but effectively, when they put a clapper there, we can all do a tifo. The whole crowd, not just Union FS corner, not just a bit of the Kop. The whole crowd can do it. We need to go back to Champions League nights, if you ask me. That's the sort of stuff I'm thinking about. Curtis says, promote a post up every week, rallying fans to give it all in there. Dave says, the players need to go for it. That gets the crowd going, not tip-tap, pass it at the back. I hear you, Dave. I'm with you on that. But the reality is we do play Enzo ball. We do play possession-based football. So I guess I'm asking for more from the fans to just go, right, we've got to get back there, in there. Give the real fans their seat back, says Keith. I'm not quite sure where Keith's going with that. Obviously, expand on that, Keith. Let us know. Nick says, get behind Enzo and the lads. No more moaning and groaning. 90 minutes, sing your hearts out. Again, Nick, I agree. I think generally most fans do that during the game. I know I'll moan about it after the game. We'll have a chat. But I think that's all part of it. Terry says, all stand and sing together. Dawn says, love the clappers in there. Trevor says, vuvuzelas. Okay, you know what those are, don't you, Reedy?
Yeah.
The big horns. Ivan says clappers, no. Josh says clappers, tin pot. See, I get that. I understand where people say that, but I say, while we have the clappers there, we have the best time of our lives, and they helped create an atmosphere. And really, fans have said this season, it's quiet. What can we do?
I think everyone said it. Just sing your hearts out and don't stop. Again, keep backing them, backing the boys, and it's all you can do. Again, there is going to be times where you're frustrated at what we do, but it doesn't help them. And to be honest, the players have got to do something for us as well. So that's the main thing. Like you say, for me, it's all about what we do on the pitch. And if we don't enjoy it or not doing well on the pitch, then it's going to be hard to support them, really. But now it's going to be to do both parts of it. To try and win games now. So that's all we can do.
Ross says here, appreciate Enzo, otherwise it's going to come back to bite us. I hear what you're saying, Ross. Really interesting podcast on Radio Leicester this evening with Owen and William Balligate, if I've said that right. But he's talking, if you listen to that, he's talking about Enzo. Would Enzo stick around if Leicester stayed in the Championship in the season? And he seems to say he probably wouldn't. And I hear what you're saying there, Ross. Appreciate Enzo, otherwise it's going to come back and bite us. But Enzo has to deliver with the players on the pitch. It has to come from them. Their lack since January the 1st is part of the process. It's hard for fans to be cheering when it is tippy-tap football and we're losing a home against QPR, really. Bubba says here, we've got to feel the desperation. We need that energy. I think it will naturally do it in there. Patrick said Leeds fans don't need clappers. I hear you about that. Leeds and Ellen Road, maybe it's because it's an older school ground. Maybe it's just because it's Leeds fans that are noisier than Leicester fans. Whatever it is, we do need something to get there. Wayne says, get the drums out, drown out the away fans. Ian says the Enzo ball needs to be fast to build up and show some balls. I do think in that Norwich game in particular, when it's at home, really, that first 15, 20 minutes, it wouldn't be the worst tactic to say, right, we've got to create something to get the crowd going.
Exactly, and that's all we can do. Again, the players have got to show it on the pitch. If they want to be in the Premier League, they've got to prove it. And all we can do is keep boosting them and showing them that we support them. Really, so that's all we can do.
Yeah, indeed. In there, Keith says, bring back, hit the bar, win a cat. I think he means win a car. That was bring. Yeah, he does. He says car. Yeah, I know what you meant, Pete. In there. Matt says, bit of a joke telling us to appreciate anyone who doesn't get us out of the league at the first time of asking. Love Enzo, but don't patronise us. He'll back sacked if we mess this up. He'll be sacked, I think, Matt. Matt, I agree. Listen, if we don't get promoted, I assume either Enzo will walk or we'll fire him, because we've got one massive chat now. I'll be there saying, I told you last summer we should have got a manager who understands the Championship and has managed the team and has been there, seen them, done it. I'm backing Enzo, but my videos, that's exactly what I said, is he needs to do it. We've got one attempt to do it. So, I appreciate what he's done, but I also look at the table since January and think we need something. Like Matty says, Enzo has to give us something to feed off. And again, Mick says, yeah, that atmosphere of the Seville game. I think it is. We're around that time of year, aren't we, really? I saw some posts where it wasn't that long ago, this time of year, where it was those amazing Champions League games.
Yeah, it's exactly this time, because obviously we're in the Champions League then, and Champions League's on right now, so that's how it was. And that was, 8 years ago now, or 7 years ago, and how many years would it be until we're back there? I'm not too sure.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one. Anyway, listen, send us, literally message us any suggestions you got for what Leicester Fan TV can do to help, because between what we do here, what you do as fans watching, any ideas will gladly help back to try and ensure that atmosphere is good. As I said, mine is put a clapper on every chair, and if there's one there, bloody pick it up, bloody make some noise, and encourage yourself to stand up and sing. And back the lads. That to me is something the club can do. I know there's a cost to it, but whatever. I just think that Norwich game, hopefully it started. Hopefully, as Brian Little said, that wave has started away at Bristol City. But the first time 30,000 Leicester fans can have a massive impact is on April the 1st against Norwich. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Really, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you later in the week.
Yep, no worries. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thanks for Reedy there. He's got his views. He was at the match. If you saw Reedy there, always go and say hello to him, and I'll be back there. Matty says, bring back the goal music in there. Be a long one. Trevor says, get the long ball up front. Boom. It would be exciting, but it won't be in there. Richie says, stop being negative to Leicester City fans. Joe says, how about put a flag on every seat, Phil? Yeah, I would say just put a clapper there and we'll hold it up and we'll be in there. Keith said, bring back the Foxy ladies. It's probably not even PC now, Keith, is it? We'd have to be the Foxy fellas or whatever. I don't know in there. Nick says in here, we need the greatest escape type of atmosphere these last 9 games. The away games won't be the problem. They never are. It's the home games in there. It will be absolutely amazing. Ross says, get a Hawaiian outfit like he wears. Will that make the noise, though, Ross? We need noise. We need passion. We all know we've got it. We need to see something on the pitch. We need to give something first, whichever way it is. If you have any ideas what we can do as fans that actually, because it's one thing doing something before the game. We can put a tifo up or do stuff like that, and that's great. But what can we do during the game that keeps that noise levels going? We've just got to do it. And I think part of that is starting today and having that rallying cry and saying, if you're going to Bristol City away, make sure you're loud and proud. If you are going to Norwich at home on April the 1st, start resting your voice now. Start gathering your blue and white kit. Don't turn up in a grey jumper. Put one of your shirts on. Let's make Leicester blue. Maybe we all wear blue shirts. Maybe we don't wear this. Maybe we all pick our favourite ever blue shirt. Maybe we turn up in blue and create a wall of blue City shirts. I'm making this up on the spot. I don't know. What can we do? We need your views. We want your comments. Literally, send me a message, send us an email, and we'll take the best ideas on in there. Andy says the players shouldn't need noise to perform. I think it helps. I think it does help, doesn't it? Anyway, get your views in, get your comments in. It's been great chatting to you. We've got to develop these ideas, make sure we've got some. Maybe wear a blue shirt. Maybe that is one made up on the spot. Don't wear anything else. It's got to be blue. It's the Blue Army, and that's what we're doing. I've told you, I'll make this up as we go along. Blue shirts, April the 1st. We are the Blue Army. Let's make some noise. I'll see you down there.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, Everod's, Barlow Blinds, Bucker Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hologram, Take Me, Nubian Co, The Fox's Arms and Rainbows. Run by the fans, for the fans. Follow us on socials at Leicester Fan TV and visit leicesterfantv.com for all the latest news, views and videos.
Forgot to press the end button, but wear your blue shirts. If you're still watching, we're going for that one and any other ones you've got. Listen, guys, thanks for that. Blue shirts, bring back the clappers. Let's make some noise. I'll see you at the game. Cheers.